Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and on this channel, we have bad hair, and we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answer they need from an employment attorney. Today, I will be very busy tapping my maple trees because it's that season around here. But we got a question before we get to that from YouTube user Ann83, who said, "We're posting a streamlined version. Hope this aligns with your guidelines." I don't know that there was another version that I saw. So if I said something about the guidelines, I apologize, or I don't. If it was the correct thing to say, I don't know. But I have no knowledge of your prior question. Hi, Vince. Unbeknownst to me, my attorney misrepresented my employment claims in court filings, shared critical evidence with opposing counsel in the initial disclosures, but then hid it without amending the complaint, and misled me into a settlement that excluded my court claims while distorting key facts. It's all documented and under review by the bar. Excuse me. Could a lawyer's misconduct like this justify avoiding a settlement and restarting mediation? Thanks. So we'll speak in generalities and usualities. The defendant who you settled your case with presumably was not aware of your lawyer's alleged, and I'm gonna stick with saying alleged because I don't listen. There's an awful lot of people who are like, "I can't believe you turned that over in discovery," or "I can't believe you turned that over in initial disclosure." And it's like that's what this is. We have to turn that over. If we don't turn it over, we can't use it. Also, that would be unethical and problematic in a variety of ways. Like, we have to turn that over. So I've had that conversation a bunch of times. I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm just saying, without knowing the specifics, I'm not going to buy into the idea that an attorney tanked your case by complying with initial disclosures or over complying with initial disclosures. That may or may not be what happened. I don't know. But I'm going to believe you. So we're going to just say alleged. This attorney's alleged failures. So the defendant, the employer who settled with you, presumably was not aware and certainly is not responsible for the incompetence, alleged or otherwise, of your attorney or even the nefarious acts of your attorney. And this is different than if, there's always the allegation, right? Lots of clients love to allege, my attorney was bribed to sell me out. Probably not. Usually not the case. But very common allegation. And in that hypothetical where the attorney is bribed by the defendant, by the employer, to sell out the client, listen, I think there's a pretty good argument that you can potentially unwind that settlement agreement because, the employer in this context is then complicit in the bad acts of your counsel, perhaps even motivating your attorney to engage in bad acts. So that's a different story. But most of the time, overwhelmingly, 99 times out of 100, if your attorney does a bad job, the employer's not really going to be on the hook for that. They didn't bribe your attorney to do a bad job. They just showed up to defend the case, and your attorney sucked. It happens, right? So often what you'll find in situations like this, Anne, is that the recourse is not to unwind the settlement agreement. Rather, the recourse could be a malpractice claim against your attorney for what you might have won had your attorney done better. You're alleging your attorney did not do a good job. If it's ultimately found to be true that you were correct, your attorney did not do a good job, they did unethical or incompetent things, then you could potentially make a claim for malpractice and be due the additional damages you might have won had your attorney been better, right? Be better, do better, or you're going to get sued, right? That is the life of an attorney. You must do the job well. Otherwise, you are no longer the predator. You have become the prey, right? And that's just the reality. Like, if you're not doing a good job, one, you need to realize you're not helping. If you're not doing a good job, you're not helping. So get out of the game, right? But two, if you're walking around like a jackass doing garbage work in this field, you're going to become the defendant. Someone's going to sue you for malpractice. sooner rather than later, because folks are not fans of you selling them out or doing a crap job of addressing their case about their trauma. Very understandably, folks are, a little riled up about that. And they will sue you. And they should sue you. They should, right? You're failing. You're failing them. And you took on a fiduciary duty to do right by them, to zealously represent them, to give it your all, and you just didn't. So the recourse there is you sue that attorney. Now, the good news is, my God, the good news is most attorneys are going to have malpractice insurance. So yeah, that attorney, they're going to have to pay you something, but their malpractice insurance is probably going to pay you the most. Generally the lion's share. Usually. And I'm not a malpractice attorney, so I can't give you advice about that. But I would say it's probably time to talk to a malpractice attorney, because it sounds like what you're saying is, hey, I think my attorney failed me in a couple different ways. Some maybe purposefully, some maybe out of simple incompetence. But in any case, I should have gotten a lot more. I received bad advice and bad representation, and I want to address that. Great. Malpractice attorney. I know it's not satisfying. Like, you want to rip that money out of your employer, and I understand why you do. But the system may look at the situation as follows. Employer settled a case with you unbeknownst to what was going on your end. It's not your employer's fault that your attorney was garbage and that, no offense to you, you hired a garbage attorney. It's not the employer's fault. The employer did many bad things, it seems, as they want to settle with you, but they did not have a hand, we assume, in making your attorney stupid, incompetent, making your attorney flip cases to your detriment. Like, that's probably not the employer's fault most of the time. And so, too, is it not the employer's fault that you didn't hire a great counsel? I'm not saying it's your fault, but I am saying if we have to assign blame, and to some extent we do in this situation, it's more your fault than your employer's fault that you hired a garbaggio attorney, right? Sorry, I have to be frank about this. And so the recourse is not reopen the settlement talks. That employer should pay again, probably. And this is in general. Like, check with your local counsel, check the laws of your jurisdiction. We're talking purely in general here. In general, the system in many jurisdictions might say, yeah, it's not the employer's fault that your counsel did a bad job, or the employer's fault that you hired bad counsel. So that settlement, that might stand. That might be done. But it doesn't mean you don't have recourse. The person who failed you presumably has that malpractice insurance policy. And they did owe you a duty of loyalty, so you can go and say, hey, I'm coming after you. And they can fight you or settle with you just like when you sued your employer. They could have fought you or settled with you, right? And that is just the reality of the situation you find yourself in, potentially. Now, again, generally, usually, check with local counsel. Run the specific facts of your situation by local attorneys. Have these conversations. Have these conversations with malpractice attorneys. Have these conversations with employment attorneys. Do your due diligence. Don't listen to a fella on the internet talking in generalities and say, that's me. That's the advice for me. That's a done deal. This decision is made. No. I'm not your attorney. I can't give you legal advice. I don't know your situation. I don't know the laws of your jurisdiction. And even if I did, I couldn't advise you as to them. So, do your due diligence. Talk to local attorneys, malpractice, employment attorneys. Really get a full understanding. Is what your attorney did right? Was it wrong? Did your attorney harm you? How badly did they harm you? Is this worth pursuing? These are conversations you need to have. Okay? Anyways, Anne, I'm sorry you have to deal with this. Very, very sincerely sorry. I wish you luck. I'll be cheering for you. If this was helpful, like, subscribe, comment down below. I will check the comments on this video if you have follow ban, and share the channel so we may grow. I will get a haircut. But for now, I'm going to go tap some maple trees. Take care.